Our family is myself and Nadine, and we also raised my biological son since he was 12 years old, and we have a grandson now who is 9 years old. Our son was home with us for an eternity, it seems. Sorry, Jason. He went through 4 years of college at Florida Southern, and then he went through Stetson Law School, so he lived at home throughout that whole time. And so he's only been out of the home for 10 years, so it hardly seems like he's been out of the home at all. So we kind of thought we were going to retire and he'd just take over the home, and then we could just switch spaces and he could be the adult and we could be like the little children that live there.
And we also have a 9-year-old grandson too.
Right. And you never get through the coming out process. You're coming out your entire life. That's what we found out in 26 years. You're constantly coming out. It's like, when am I going to be out? When is this over? But we put him in that school. It was a religious-based school. And it was kind of a don't ask, don't tell policy with that school at that point in time. Nadine actively participated.
I went to all the open houses. I'd sit in the little seats. They would say to me, with the blonde hair, "Are you Sally's mom?" And I'd say, "No." "Oh, then you must be
next blonde
Bobby's
kid.
mother." And I'd say, "No." And then I'd say, "I'm here,
to
supporting
support Jason."
And then they'd ask, "Oh, I'm Jason's mom."
mother.
So, but nobody ever said
So we had to be closeted
word.
there because he would have been
Yes.
kicked out of school, and that was the only place that we were really closeted. We were out at work, and it was more important to me for his education that he was getting there versus me forcing that issue. I mean, that's some things that you just do when you're a parent. But unfortunately, I think sometimes in that environment, it also made Jason feel not insecure, but a little inferior because, his mom's and his family was not as valid, because that's the only time we kind of hid who our family was, and he had relationships with kids in the neighborhood, and we were out in the neighborhood, but he never had kids come over from school because that just wasn't something that could happen
cross as much
because
over
you couldn't cross those boundaries.
A few friends that we helped them carpool and stuff like that.
So that's the main way, and then just all the legal ramifications of so many things. We've fought the IRS. We just finished up fighting IRS after DOMA passed, with taking tax deductions back and forth on property and healthcare benefits that we can't share. So the list goes on.
Right, our insurance
on.
is just astronomical. We purchase our own. We're older now. We're mature, so it's incredibly expensive.
Company we work for, we can't have a family policy because we're not.
I need to continue
female,
to work as a nurse so I can pay my insurance. So.
Got married at a rooftop ceremony in New York City right after marriage equality passed in New York. We were going to get married in California. We talked about it when Massachusetts passed it, but then they had the residency requirement, and I really didn't want to go to Massachusetts and have to lie on a form in order to get married and then fly back to Florida. And when it passed in Florida, in California, she was raised in San Diego for 12 years, and I lived in Los Angeles for 6 years. So it's a state that's very dear to us. And so we thought, well, perfect place to go. But by the time we had planned, because we were planning a whole honeymoon trip and everything like that after, and that was when Prop 8 came up, and then they shut the marriages down in California. So when it passed, I just said to her, that's it. We're going to New York and we're getting married. And so, we went over and talked to my son about it. And of course, my son really doesn't remember any life hardly before we were together as a family. So to him, it was like, what are you doing? You're like already married. You're my mom's, kind of thing. But, I don't think he got the full understanding of it because, he's white male and so he's privileged in the United States. And he is heterosexual. He's not gay. And so he has all the rights that we didn't have. So I think even him, growing up in our family, as liberal as our family was and as out as our family was, he really didn't understand what not having that right was, because I don't think any of us can understand when we don't have a basic human right. I don't think we can understand until we're in that position. We can empathize with it, but I don't think we can understand the impact that it makes.
And many of our friends our heterosexual friends would say, well, it's just a word. Can't you settle for like domestic partnerships, civil unions? Why do you have to make such a fuss about it? Well, if you're in that position, then you need to make a fuss about it, because in any human culture, marriage is not only the right for property, which originally that's part of why a lot of women say, oh, I'm not gonna, no. It is an intangible part of the human existence, and everybody on this planet understands what marriage means. Not everyone understands or cares what civil unions or
My partner.
right, exactly. So that was part of the reason. It's a personal issue as well as a political and human issue that we just simply need to move forward on in this country.
And any other term is just not equal, it's lesser than. And my marriage should not be lesser than anybody else's marriage. You know, my marriage is just as valid, and it's just as important to me as it is to, you know, anybody else who's married.
So how did you two meet?
I'll let her tell that story because
okay.
she tells it funnier than
Probably over, I don't know, a year's period, we became more friends, very good friends. And then I realized that she had the most beautiful blue eyes that I'd ever seen. And I thought, there's something going on here. I don't know what it is. And it took me a while to accept at age 36, when I'd been in a heterosexual relationship, that I was in love with another woman. But I had several physicians at the hospital that were gay, so that helped me, and they were out. I don't mean I told them, I meant they role modeled. I could see what's the big problem here. You know, they're physicians, they're well respected, everyone here knows they're gay. There's still those little comments from some of the other doctors that are sexist comments, homophobic comments, but you can get through that. So finally, ultimately, we realized together we were in love, and then it was like that. Then that's when we started our life together. So it's been quite an exciting 26 years, so, and many more, hopefully.
And we've been together for 26 years. So I think we've kind of proved that we have a successful relationship. So, you know, we deserve to be married and to have that recognized in this state. Get engaged for marriage equality.